You are listening to the Mark Lesko podcast, a podcast by diehard fans for fans. Mark covers all things Penn State football and the Pittsburgh Steelers, as well as anything related to the sports and fitness world. Tune in weekly to listen to a couple of dedicated fans talk about these topics without filters. Thank you for listening to the Mark Lesko podcast.
You know what's up, Steeler Nation. Welcome to the Mark Lesko podcast. I'm your host, J. Rod, and this is Steeler Central. I was right, and I really hate it when I am right. When I want to be wrong, not. You know, it's not a question of if I'm right. It is a question of why I'm right. And between the offense not showing up whatsoever in that game. I mean, with the excuse me touchdown at the end and Arthur Smith's play calling and Mike Tomlin's inability to show up on a Sunday night game. It's like Thursday night used to be his kryptonite. Now we can add Sunday night games to his horrible resume of gross incompetence. I just cannot believe how this team can have 6 turnovers one week and then the very next do absolutely nothing to make this season anywhere near where it should be. Yeah, I know they had injuries. I know it sucks to lose a guy like Slay the way they did, but they just don't prepare anyone outside of their starters. They don't have backup plans. They don't have plan Bs. I mean, the defense actually showed up for 3/4 of that game until they realized that there's no point in trying to do anything anymore if the offense is not going to show up. It just absolutely sickens me how Aaron Rodgers, the guy that was supposed to be something you relied on, just starts throwing these passes the way he does. Like, it's not a question of are these plays bad, which they are very bad, and Arthur Smith deserves so much of the blame with this. And I know that Isaac Seumalo is out. I know that that hurt them too. But again, guys that can't get next man up, there's no next man up mentality whatsoever with this team. You know, you wonder as a fan, how much more can you endure? Trying to think of ways to try to brush it off, try and find ways to say that, you know, again, it's a game. We love the game. We want it to be something that we look forward to. And this organization and this coaching staff does everything it possibly can to just make us hate them. They just do not have any real answers. They just show up, and if they win, great. I guess that's what they planned. But then you watch what happens, like games like this. Like, this is just absolutely some of the most asinine looks I've ever seen as a fan. I've been watching this team since 1995. Now, I've been religiously watching them since 2004, since Big Ben showed up. And yes, I know that they have had a couple of bad seasons in that regard of they were just 500. You didn't think they were going to go anywhere because, again, there was too much inconsistencies. I mean, this is the very definition. These last 3 weeks are exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers have been since Mike Tomlin has been head coach. You know, you looked completely incompetent against the Packers. Then you did everything you possibly could to win that game against Indianapolis. And then tonight, when the Chargers had basically no offensive line, Justin Herbert did get sacked 5 times by that defense. And the offense did not care to come and play. The coaching has just shown absolutely no reason for you to feel good about anything. Jaylen Warren actually did have decent numbers. Let me bring this up here. I'm not saying completely great numbers, but decent. So what do you have here? Look at Aaron Rodgers. He got sacked 3 times, 16 for 31, 161 yards, and a touchdown. Those 2 interceptions. They were so goddamn bad. So freaking bad. Horrible play call, horrible execution, everything. And Justin Herbert, listen, what was that one play to Lad McConkey? A 58-yard pass after the catch. Like, it was like some ridiculous number. It was like 40, 50 some yards after the catch. You take that one play away from him, and Justin Herbert would have gone 19 for 32 with like 100 and what would that made it? 170 some yards and a touchdown. That would have been just as an embarrassing showing as Aaron. But all it takes is one play for the Steelers to lose a game, pretty much. And that was it right there. They were 3rd and 6 on their 29-yard line, and all of a sudden they were all the way down at Pittsburgh's end. I don't know who was that culprit for that play, but again, it's just remarkable how the Steelers' defense has to basically play completely lights out, 110% all the time. And they just refuse offensively to make any kind of adjustment, make anything different. Like, look at Jaylen Warren, 14 carries, 70 yards. That's averaging about 5 yards a carry. That should do something. And it doesn't. And if I did, 25 carries for 95 yards, it's just unbelievable. Everything that can go wrong with this team does, especially on Sunday nights. And here we are now, 5-4. With the Ravens, of course, having this magic, showing up with their game against the Vikings. Now they're 4-5. 2 weeks ago, the team should have been buried. We had a 2.5 game lead over them. Now it's all gone. Now we're just lucky to exist. And of course, I see that Roman Wilson only had 3 targets and 2 catches the whole game. Yet DK gets 7 targets, but only catches 3. Guys, this is just... But, another thing that's eye-opening, you see Darnell only got 1 catch, 1 target. That was supposed to be our saving grace, too. And, again, I maybe he's not 100%. I understand that. I know he still has the foot thing. It doesn't just go away. But, again, Calvin Austin, look at that. 7 targets and 2 catches. Oh, again, I don't know really what to say. You see that they had 16 catches, but they also got 28 targets, 12 drop passes. And DK and Calvin are huge culprits of this. And, of course, they started using Pat Freiermuth, I think, a little too late. I think it was like the second half I finally started seeing his name. Again, you just wonder what exactly is this, like, what is the organization's mentality? What exactly is it that they are trying to achieve? There's absolutely no way you can say that they have some sort of plan going into the season after this point. Like, there's just no way that the next couple of games can actually be answered as to, can you be competitive? Can you even exist? Like, this is just ridiculous. This is absolutely unnecessarily bad. Unnecessarily bad. It's not a question of, like, yes, you get injuries and it sucks and it's the worst thing that can happen. But just the way it's all executed, it's just absolutely gross incompetence, and I don't know what else to say. These guys just continuously do everything in their power to just make you want to not want to watch them. They just do not care to want to be a team that is competitive. Horrible game. Thought they might have a chance going into it. Yeah, Mark, I get it, bud, but there's no answer for this. There's not, because that they should be considering firing Tomlin. They should be considering, like, not trying to extend either of these guys. Neither one, Arthur Smith or Terrell Austin, should have their jobs after this season. And again, this division is garbage, and we could easily be winning this. But they choose not to show up. They choose not to be competitive. I don't understand how this entire organization has just fallen this far from grace, guys. I mean, what more can there be said? Everyone in the AFC outside of, I know Buffalo just got handed their by the Dolphins, and so there's no answer, from, at least if you play Miami, Buffalo has no answer for that. And again, here comes the Ravens. It's just remarkable. Almost, I'm not saying it's rigged. I'm not saying there's any there's conspiracy, but what other can we say? Hey, Joe Bob Bud, Rodgers didn't look good at all. Yeah, it was just, there's no answer for this. I understand he's 41 years old. He's inconsistent right now, like the entire organization, the entire thing. And again, you didn't do anything at the trade deadline, nothing. And you think what? That's going to justify all the injuries? That's going to justify the fact that, yeah, it's a tough season. And yeah, I understand it's difficult to go on the road, especially on a Sunday night environment, and they just don't show up whatsoever. I mean, you start this game out with a 59-yard field goal, and it's 3-0. You get them pinned back in your own part of the field. And then Aaron Rodgers just gets scrambled, and you get sacked for a safety. I mean, there's just absolutely no reason for it. There's no reason as to why this team can just not look one way and have an identity. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing more can be said other than they just have no answer in any way, shape, or form. Guys, this might go down, really, as one of the worst sports weekends in the state of Pennsylvania, between Penn State, any professional sports team, between the NFL. I mean, hell, if the Eagles lose tomorrow, I mean, I'm just saying it's a dark weekend for Pennsylvania sports teams. Oh, those dang Penguins. I was like, we may have a chance. We may have a chance to show up and do something. Again, you could have proven me wrong, but there was the thing. There was no turnovers in this game, and you needed to have that happen. You needed to show up like that too. It's not a question of can you get to Justin Herbert. Yeah, we knew that he was going to have a bad offensive line, and he did get sacked a lot. But did it do anything effectively? No, because again, there's no answer at wide receiver 2. There's no answer right now at wide receiver 1. DK has not had a big flashy game truly this whole season. He has had maybe an 80-yard game with a touchdown, something like that. I don't really remember exactly what his numbers are all season. But, these guys don't have an answer to, be consistent. And again, you started using Pat and Roman way too late. It's like, where were they all game? Where was all of them? I just don't know what else to say, guys. This is about as abysmal, and I've never felt more lost as a fan. I can't imagine what anyone else who actually knows how to talk about this game as well as anyone, when they watch it, when they know how to read plays. It's like there's no way that you would say that this team wants to do anything. They can't do anything, especially offense. I mean, I understand that you can't win them all, but in the end, there's just absolutely nothing else. I mean, if we dig further into this, Joe Paul, you make a great point. If you look at the team stats here, this is where it even starts to mess with you. So, yeah, they had 11 first downs, but I'm pretty sure in that last drive when they had the touchdown, about 6 of them came from it. I'm pretty sure at one point we only had 5 or 6 total first downs all game long. Yeah, passing first downs were 6, and rushing, I mean, it's even, and the first down from penalties. They didn't need a single penalty for first downs. They got it all pretty much in the second half of this game. Oh, I mean, yeah, they had that really terrible touchdown at the end of the half to go up 12-3. Yeah, I mean, it was a rough first half. You adjust. But here was again, what makes you hate Tomlin as much as anything is that he never adjusts. He never goes away from the game planning. And that's just, again, another thing where you have to bring up what is it going to take for these guys to want to be competitive, or to say that they don't need something else. They need something different. They need to have a different voice. Ugh. Took them 4 possessions to get their first down. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that just says it all right there. The defense for the Chargers basically just knew that they had to take out what? Maybe their tight end. If Darnell was not 100%, all they had to do is take him out, and they had no answer because DK just keeps getting covered. I don't know why that guy can't get open, but it's just incredible what this guy goes through. I mean, there's no real explanation as to why this is like the biggest answer that we had in the offseason, and it's not making any kind of progress. There's no improvement with DK. I mean, if we look at DK's numbers, let me see here. We bring him up. What is his actual numbers this year? So, I mean, his whole season, he's 29 receptions. That's tied for 59th out of all wide receivers. Total yardage, 467. That's 32nd among. He's tied for 10th with touchdowns, and he averages 16.1 yards, which is 32nd. I mean, none of this is screaming like this guy is doing anything remotely good. I mean, if we look at these last couple of games. Okay, so that's just no, stop that. So if we see the last 5 games, he has 30 targets, but 19 reception. I mean, it's not terrible, but I mean, 332, it's averaging 15.9, and he has 3 touchdowns in 5 games. Guys, that's not going to get it done. That's not going to say that you're a competitive team. I mean, he had the 95-yard and touchdown against Cleveland. I mean, yeah, that's a good defense, and that's one game. But then you look at everything else. He had 50 yards against Cincinnati. He had 55 yards against Green Bay. Only 6 in Indianapolis, and yet they won that game. Nothing about his numbers tells you that this team is trying to be anywhere near competitive and or trying to do something. Like, I can't even call this like a team that's trying to get to a draft pick, or like there's just no identity. I mean, it's just we're a bunch of guys and they're just going out there and putting on some idea. Like, I mean, they put on their jerseys. I don't know if I call them a team right now. This is just a bunch of guys who I guess know how to play the game in some way, shape, or form, but they don't have the ability to because either they keep getting hurt or their play calling is just completely inept. There's absolutely nothing about this particular team right now at this moment that tells you they're trying to be competitive. I don't know what else to say. Like, I'm just so lost. I've never felt this lost as a fan of the Steelers. I mean, what are you talking? A couple of years in the late 90s? I mean, if anybody can remember that far back, there's a couple of seasons where I remember they weren't competitive. They were waiting for the transaction into a guy like Big Ben to start doing something for them, and they took off. They haven't had a losing record since, 2002 or 2004, ever since Ben was the quarterback. And yeah, Tomlin has never had a situation like where he's had to develop a quarterback. And here we are again with a guy that was something great. It's like Russell Wilson all over again. We don't know what we're going to get from this guy. One week he shows up and the next, no. And everyone figures him out. Like, I apologize, guys. I feel like being Mark's representative for the Steelers, I know he's going through the can as well with the Penn State. But here we are as Steelers fans, and you had every opportunity to get somewhere. Even though that the Ravens and the Bengals, like, they lost everything. Like, Joe Burrow's gone. So, yeah, you have to deal with Joe Flacco. He's a year younger than Aaron, and yet he's making things work because he's got the weapons. I mean, when you have Jamar Chase and you have T. Higgins, I'd like to think you know how to at least get the ball to them. If you know how to do that, you have a chance of winning something. But yet they have the worst defense in the entire NFL. So there's nothing in the AFC North. I don't care what Lamar Jackson can do to keep games alive. I mean, I think his numbers today, again, are so pedestrian most of the time as a passing quarterback. I think his entire total yards passing was like 180 yards. And that should not be the case. That should not be something that goes, oh gosh, this guy is something spectacular. He keeps using his legs. They keep having good breaks with Derrick Henry. Mark Andrews keeps making big plays happen and keeps them in drives. And, the other team just all of a sudden goes away. And here they are, close to coming back into contention. And they're going to take over this division. Like I said, these next 3 games between the Chargers, the Bengals, and the Bears, it's so crucial for you to do something. And now we are hurt just as much as we have been all season. The offense has completely lost its identity. The play calling is completely inadequate. And Mike Tomlin cannot show up when it matters on Sunday nights and Thursday nights. It's just, I really appreciate the comments, Joe Paul. Guys, I really appreciate watching. There's no question the team has talented players, so it's either age or coaching, and Tomlin is to blame for both of those. It's his team and coaches. Amen. What more can there be said about Mike Tomlin as a coach, guys? He is the greatest regular season coach in the sense he never loses. But then you talk about what you wanted to go beyond that. It just seems like they are completely satisfied. And that we've said this how many times over and over again, that they're just satisfied with being mediocre. They're just satisfied with constantly being in the conversation. I mean, I cannot believe that anybody would be happy just to be invited to the party. You don't want to actually earn your place at the party. You're just happy that you're in the house. That's really what this is right now. I guess there are teams that don't even get a chance to go in the house. And I can only imagine what it's like for those franchises that have to deal with that type of identity and, leadership. And yeah, it sucks that some of the teams never have that, i.e. the Pirates. I mean, again, there's so many things that you could go with how certain organizations run themselves. And it's remarkable how this team, again, constantly finds its way into the party, but they're not making their presence known. They don't care to make it anything bigger. They don't want to have it be a bigger party. They're happy with, putting this in the townhouse, or they don't want to be in the penthouse. They don't want to keep going up the levels. They don't want to go to the top floor. No, I guess they're just going to rely solely on their nostalgia. They're going to rely solely on the fact that they were a great team one time, and you're just going to become the Pittsburgh Pirates now. This is really the mentality that the city of Pittsburgh, in terms of their sports, has become. They have just become one glorified, remember those days team. They love knowing that 15, 20 years ago, they were competitive, and they always had great teams, and they always had great players, and we can always talk about it. Man, you remember those times? They were great. And the future, it's great. They're just going to have to settle for being 500, not actually knowing what it's like to get to a championship. I mean, forget just trying to make playoffs. I mean, it's we constantly talk about how we want this team to be actually at a Super Bowl again. This is crazy how it's how dare I even bring up the Super Bowl, let alone just try to win a playoff game. This team was, up until about 2005 or 6, that team that you just did not ever question if they were going to make the Super Bowl. They did. They were always in the conversation of getting all the way to the Super Bowl. They had fierce competitive nature. They had absolutely amazing plays. Their years, I mean, their players, every single thing you talk about, coaching, it just all wanted to be winners. They all wanted to get somewhere. And here we are now, just mediocre land. They love knowing that they are just right there. They're always they just like the flatlands. I mean, I don't know really what else to say, guys. What it all comes down to is what these guys allow, and they just are completely content with this. They are content with knowing that they're just trying everything not to be winners. It says, at least you have chips. I'm a Minnesota fan, but yes, mediocre sucks. I totally agree with that, my man. I feel bad. It is rough. Yeah, listen, Buffalo, who's another great example? I guess you could say maybe the Raiders. There are several organizations where it's like you had success at some point, but it's never the big game. It's never the win. We don't have the. I get it. Like I feel like if you were to like just stop the world at 2011, yeah. I mean, we've had some success in the postseason, but it's been more not than yes. And I can only imagine what it's like not to be a part of that. So but hey, that's what I'm saying. As time goes on, I mean, that's really what we have is to look forward to. We just look forward to the fact that this team was once great. And now we're just trying our darndest to stay afloat or just keep ourselves afloat and stay afloat, not actually try to go anywhere else. Like it's discouraging as hell. I'm so sorry, guys. I feel like I got to apologize to Steeler Nation for having to endure all of this like inconsistent and uncertainty and mediocrity. There's absolutely no excuse for it. Every year we go into the offseason, we see what we have in the open field, bring players in, and we see the draft. And sometimes you develop, but again, we don't know how to develop a quarterback to save our lives. We can't develop any type of like line anymore. Like the Cam Hayward is a great guy that we're always going to remember, but you can't just rely solely on just one guy. I mean, where did Peyton Wilson go tonight? I mean, I really would like to know what exactly is the game plan, but that's like asking a magic 8-ball to give us the exact answer we're looking for. It's just there's no consistency. They need to rename themselves the Pittsburgh Inconsistencies because we just don't know what we're going to get, guys. So, again, if you have a magic 8-ball, take a shake and see what it says because I feel like that's where it's going to be. And you're going to get just as good an answer as anything else. Draft a quarterback next year or the next year. Oh, I hear stories about this in year's drafts with the quarterbacks and how it's supposed to be, quote, the, pick of the litter. And there was going to be 7 or 8 names and about 5 of the 7 names that were supposed to be first round draft. They're completely MIA now. Like Arch Manning, Drew Aller. Again, there's so many. I can't think off the top of my head, but it's like I know those guys in particular were supposed to be something special going into the NFL. Now you have no idea. It just seems like they keep diminishing the development stages between the NCAA and the NFL. It's so up in the air anymore because what are you trying to find? You're trying to find a mobile quarterback that maybe has the arm to do something, and they're a dime a dozen anymore. It's there's no real answer coming. I just don't see it. You're talking about maybe somebody wants to get out of their situation, and maybe it would be a better fit if they went into our situation. But I heard the stories about the wide receivers between Jacoby Meyer and what was the other one? Rashid, who went to the Seahawks, and Meyer went to the Jaguars, and they both apparently had said, we don't want to go to Pittsburgh. Like apparently Omar Khan had offered the same things to both Jacksonville and Seattle offered for those players, and they said we don't want to go there. And it's like, what does that say? What does that say about Pittsburgh? If they're saying we don't want to come here, it's like, well, why not? What does that show you about our coaching staff? I'm not saying they were given the playbook and say like, how can you ask us to, do something with this? Like, there's no way that this is going to work. So we're just going to take our chances with this team because, again, I don't know how Trevor Lawrence is a better option than Aaron Rodgers, but I can see the desire to go to a team like Seattle because, again, everything they do is all talking about trying to win and trying to be something in their division in the NFC. I mean, why not? Let's see. They spent 2 of the last 3 drafts to protect a quarterback they didn't have on the team yet. That even sounds like a Tomlinism. Yeah. Amen. Again, everything about the Steelers has always been about what Tomlin wants to do. It just never changes. They never, ever have a different voice. They never have a different mindset. It is always about how great this guy once had it because he inherited something. And yes, he knows how to have these guys on defense. And yes, again, it wasn't the defense's fault completely this time for this game. But you do hire the coaching staff, don't you? Like, it's your responsibility to bring in the coaches that are on both offense and defensive coordinating. And Arthur Smith tonight just gave us like a complete dud. There was no real answer for what they had in terms of the passing game because Aaron looked completely lost out there trying to find, sorry guys, anything else that wasn't DK Metcalf. You just think, well, DK Metcalf is the WR1, but apparently he's covered up. What do you go to then? Because Darnell apparently is not 100% tonight. So where'd you go? You went nowhere. You tried to do something with Jonnu, and you tried to do something with Calvin, and you kept throwing the ball to Calvin, and he just did not execute it all tonight. He looked like the worst version we have seen so far this season. Again, it's just all about one game at a time now, and I really don't know what to expect from this team going forward. I know they have some names. I know they have talent. But these guys have so much inconsistency, and they don't have a real game plan. So how can you judge, or how can you have an identity? How can you feel like you're trying to get somewhere, and this is the end result? It's just never the same. Every game feels like it is a different version of what we thought we were going to see. We always see almost the exact opposite every week. So, again, we're going to show up again. By this logic, we're going to show up against the Cincinnati Bengals because we need to do something. This is just absolutely some of the worst looks I've ever seen. And if this does lead to a losing season and it leads to Tomlin getting fired and having a different voice in for the first time since, pretty much the turn of the century, I mean, that's got what we have to deal with right now. Everything needs to be different. It does. It just cannot be this way anymore. It can. I mean, if you're asking the fans to accept this, I mean, this is what we have to deal with. So I'm going to sign off on this one, guys. In closing, I just want to say thank you guys for all the comments, and thank you for showing up for this episode. It's not easy, guys. And I hope to goodness that something occurs in the next few weeks. Maybe get good news with some injury updates. Guys come back healthy. Again, when everything's healthy, obviously it's fantastic, but that's not the case right now. So we got to hang tight. Try our darndest not to completely fall off the ship and sink, but this is not a good look. And again, it's all about the head coach, and we know what we're going to be getting. We're going to be getting, we're hurt. We're not where we need to be. So I hope you guys try your darndest to get through the week. Try to get ready for next week. And hey, I will see you guys tomorrow for the next episode. And until then, guys, here we go, Steelers.